Hello and welcome to another episode of Rebel Rogue, where today I'll be showing you how to paint the Dark Angels. Rebel Rogue. So, the Dark Angels, the Unforgiven, nobody can quite work out whether they're traitor or loyalist. There's constant argument and winding up Dark Angels players by calling them Chaos Space Marines. Anyway, this is I think it's a Dark Angels veteran. Picked him up from a local hobby store. So today I will be showing you how to paint them. The first colour that you will need is Vallejo monocolour black green. This is a good green colour. I think it's the equivalent to the old Games Workshop Dark Angels green, so I think it's a good colour to use. I can't remember, it's not Caliban green. I can't remember what the current recommended paint is for green, but you sort of want a dark green, quite a neutral dark green, so you don't want it to be too blue or something. Just want a nice neutral dark green. Taking a relatively large brush, and we're going to paint all of the armour with this dark green colour. We do want to avoid the robe, but we can paint the feet of the miniature. Like so. And the face inside the hood. I thought I'd show you on a veteran for the reason that it will cover everything you need to paint your standard intercessors or your tactical marines or anything like that, and it will also cover to painting veterans and cloaks and other such things like that. The next colour to paint is Vallejo game colour Khaki onto all of the robes of the miniature. Making sure to give your paint a good shake and thin it slightly with a drop of water to make sure it flows smoothly. If you watch, is it Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy? And Duncan Rhodes' previous videos on Warhammer TV, you will know he always says 2 thin coats, and to an extent I agree with him, but to another extent I don't, because I find with Vallejo paints they cover very well in one coat, so 2 thin coats is always best, but if you can't, then it's not too much of a bother. Just make sure it's nice and smooth onto all of the robe areas. It doesn't really matter whether you do 2 coats and build up a solid colour at this stage, because a wash will tone it down and will bring everything looking very similar. The next part of the miniature that we're going to paint is the bolt gun casing and any other areas we would like to be red. For this we will be using Citadel's Mephiston red. I do like this red, it is a nice strong colour and it is a good medium red tone. It's not too dark and it's not too bright. This will be painted on the bolt gun casing, or the furniture as they call it, and on any other red areas. I'll be using the same brush as before. It is a size 2 Telgona cheap sable brush, which is now developing a hook tip, but yeah, onto the furniture of the bolt gun and any other red areas. I haven't quite decided what colour I'm going to paint the sensor, but I think I'll paint the little stick it's on red, along with something, possibly the skull here. Like so. You don't have to be too neat at this stage, you can tidy everything up then next before you apply the washes, but It helps to be neater. Helps in the long term. There we are. We are now going to paint all the straps and belts of the model, the main one being the strap on the bolt gun, with flat brown from Vallejo. This is a nice mid-brown colour, but you could use any brown you'd prefer. If you have a specific paint you like to use for leathers, then you by all means use that. But I find that this brown works well with the red. Painting it onto the strap like so. If you are unsure of what I'm doing at the minute, which is called base coating, you can find a video linked in the top right hand corner of the screen. As long as I remember to put it in, which I should do. Yeah. All sorted. There are some ropes around the belt, around the waist, so I'm going to paint them as well in this brown colour. Now, with Vallejo model colour Gunmetal Grey, we will paint all the metal parts of the miniature. These being the bolt gun, main part of the bolt gun, what else? The pipes around the face grill, and for this particular model I'm going to paint the joints between the armour, but you could paint them in a grey, for example Vallejo's Somber Grey or Vallejo's Panzerace's German Tank Crew. Whatever you paint them in, they will be washed in the same way in the wash stage. This is a nice dark steel colour. You could use a lighter steel if you wanted to, a lighter silver, but I like this and I think it fits a sort of grim dark aesthetic. The final two areas to base coat are the gold parts of the model and the white parts of the model. To base coat the gold parts, we'll be using Games Workshop's Retributor Armour, my new favourite gold colour, and it will be going on this little, get a brush and point with it, this little piece here, and any other little gold details I think should be gold, perhaps even the hilt of this blade, and maybe a couple of other details. The white will be going on the little angel emblems that are scattered throughout the model. For the white, we'll begin with the white, and we're going to use Vallejo model colour Offwhite. Making sure to thin your paint. This is currently this bottle is a bit thin, so I'm just going to, I think it's thin enough to work with, so I'm just going to use that. And I'm going to take quite a small brush because I'm using detail. Doing detail, I've got a size 1 here. It's relatively small. For some reason, these sable brushes are somehow developing hook tips. I might have to look up and fix on the internet for that. It's a bit annoying, really. I even recommended them, they're quite good. They're good apart from the fact they develop hook tips. Right. So, the emblem on the backpack. And any other details. And now onto the Retributor Armour. You could use other paints for this gold are available. Something like Vallejo's Glorious Gold is a nice gold colour for this. I just find Retributor Armour has quite a unique tone to it. Painting on the banding of the sensor and any other gold details, such as this laurel wreath. Yeah. We can now move on to the wash stage. The washes that we will be using for this model are Citadel's Agric Earthshade, or another sort of brown wash, say Army Painter's Strong Tone, and a black wash. This is a homemade black wash, but you could use Army Painter Dark Tone or Citadel Nuln Oil. To begin, we'll be painting the black wash over the armour panels, the metal areas and the red areas of the model, and also the white areas. And for the brown, we'll be painting it over the robes and the brown straps and the gold details. What is it, water on these brushes? There we are. I'll be taking a slightly larger brush for this. I'll be using size 3 from my range, not my range, I don't have a paintbrush range, from my collection. It's a decently large brush, something like a medium shade brush would probably do. I don't really know the sizing of Citadel brushes. I should just get some just to tell you the size, shouldn't I? That'd be helpful. Right, so Agric's Earthshade out of the pot, careful not to knock it over, and we're just going to slap it right on. Being careful not to let it pool too much in the flat areas. If it does start pooling, just clean your brush off, dampen it slightly, and then put it near it, and it'll sort of suck the wash up. There's probably some special name for that. There will be a scientific name for it. I don't know what it is, and I'm too lazy to put it in the description in the video editing thing. Yep. You will notice that this does make a very dark robes. In the end step, where I show you additional things you can do to this, you will be able. I will show you how you can lighten up your robes. Or at least the robes on your model. I don't know if you've got robes. Don't think they're very common nowadays. Robes. I'm just going to paint the whole sensor in this brown tone. A, it makes my life easier, and B, it sort of looks nicer. I hope that bit of footage was caught and didn't get interrupted by low power mode. And onto the strap also. This just helps to darken down the model, make it appear more grim and dark, and not quite so bright and flat. Wipe away excess. Yep. All sorted. Now onto the black. For the black, I'll be using exactly the same brush as before, and applying it to all the areas that were not hit with the brown. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Not prepared, am I? Just get things set up before I start recording. Yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't have my plastic palette on hand. So, onto all of the armour, the white, the metal, and the red areas. If there's any other areas that you have painted on your model that are not on this guide, then you painted them a separate colour. You can choose whether you do black wash or brown or whatever you happen to have to do your washes in. If you followed the steps I have presented in this guide, then this is roughly what your model should look like. From this point, there are several things you can do to improve the look of your model. The first thing you could do is reset the base coat on every colour. This is not strictly necessary, but it does help if you do it on the armour and on the robes. For the robes, you could also do a bit of layering to layer them up to more sort of a cream or a bone or an off-white colour rather than this really dark tan. Unless of course you want to keep it at this dark tan. If you have plain shoulder pads, I don't, but if you were to have plain shoulder pads on your marine, then you could do some freehand on them, which is sort of difficult, can be difficult, depends. You could also, if you've got like robes, you could pick out the buttons on the robes, and you can of course do the base. I do have a video on doing bases, well, one video so far. I'm hoping to do more in the future, and there is also a video for layering and resetting base coats, both of which can be found in the top right hand corner of the screen. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like down below. If you enjoy all of many videos from this channel, please feel free to subscribe. It costs nothing and really does help the channel. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.